We are the third owners of Evangers. We bought Evangers October 30th, 2002. I ended up buying Evangers because I was in a family business for a long time and it got sold and I wanted to work. And my husband was the meat supplier for this dog food company. He was the meat supplier for all the pet food companies in the Midwest.
So at one point, when I was at Evangers, after doing business with them for nearly 10 years, I was talking to one of the owners and asked if they would be if they wanted a partner. But the owner said to me, "Well, we don't really want a partner. We really want somebody to buy this company." And so Holly was all for buying this business, and I thought it would be a great business to operate also and build.
So I ended up buying the company. My husband wanted nothing to do with it. Within the first week, I'm begging. My husband's name is Joel. Joel, come help me, please, please. Get off that truck. Stop doing what you're doing. Come help me.
Manufacturing is very intense. I mean, and in our particular situation, we do not just manufacturing, but we have to do the sales and even transportation. Like I mentioned before, we actually collect the raw materials. So these are all really could be independent businesses, all thrown under the same umbrella that we all have to operate.
And we just learned. And the good news is that we do mostly cans. And doing cans is you could be very innovative. And my husband being the supplier of the raw meat and being able to do the fresh, and local and getting it every day really, really added to what we were able to do and still able to do at Evangers. Everybody has that certain dog throughout their life that steals their heart. Mine was Yukon. It was a Chow Samoyed, and it bit everybody. It bit everyone.
Got him as a puppy, and as he grew, although he was a hardy dog, I think he was a very intelligent dog. Before we were in the pet food manufacturing business, I was in the raw meat and meat supply business to pet food companies. So I really had access to all kinds of different foods for him, but early on when we first had him, I didn't know much about pet food myself. I would go to the store and I would look at the labels and the ingredient list, and I would buy a 40-pound bag of food and bring it home and think, he's gonna love this, and put it down in his bowl, and he wouldn't even touch it. And then I would say, well, I must have bought the wrong stuff, and I'd go back to the store and I'd buy another 40-pound bag of something else with a beautiful ingredient list, and he wouldn't touch it. And as I got into the manufacturing business of pet food, we analyzed it and tested, taste tested, and we used Yukon mostly as our seal of approval, our tester.
We used to make 3, 5, 20 different batches or different types of food a day, and I'd bring it home and give it to my dog to see what he would eat. And he was like going to the buffet. Some days he would eat 1, and some days he would eat 2. But let's say we make 100 different cans, different types of cans in a week, he would eat 3 of them. He was so picky. So we knew if we were inventing something and he ate it, it's a winner. And if he didn't, we couldn't do it.
I mean, if he didn't eat it, it probably would still be good for most dogs, but we would still reject it as a business decision. But if he accepted it, it was a surefire winner for all dogs because he was so particular about what he would eat. So that's we created most products with him in mind, and that's the legacy of Yukon.
My name is Dino Forkas, Fresh to You Produce Company. I've been doing this for 35 years. I've been a produce buyer, and you know what? I don't consider it work because I love what I do. We are currently supplying the Dog Whisperer with all their produce and some of their spice items that they're using in their ingredients, and we try to bring them the best possible quality we can. We supply some of the best restaurants in Chicago, from the 5-star hotels to the fine dining white tablecloth restaurants downtown Chicago. And let me tell you something, the Dog Whisperer, she's more stringent than some of these chefs are. She wants the best, she will not settle for less. And sometimes, it's produce, it's grown in the ground. And there's only so good you can get. She doesn't care. She says, find it. So that's my job, and it's really, really hard, but that's okay. They're great customers. We've been doing business with them for 20 years, and they do business right. They know what they're doing. The products coming from all over the country, and there's different growing areas. It's not just California anymore. Products coming from Mexico. It's being flown in from other countries. It's coming from Chile, from Canada, and locally. So we're just looking for the best possible product out there, and quality has gotten a lot better. It's much, much better. So when I'm buying carrots, for instance, what we're looking for is something that's clean. We want to taste it, and we want to make sure it has a lot of fiber in it. Fiber is good for the animals. We also want it to have some sweetness to it. You could eat a carrot and they could be bitter. We've all had them before. Or they could just have no flavor, watery, nothing there. Maybe it just rained and the flavors, there's nothing. Like the quality of them, they just look kind of old and wilty, but let me show you some really nice ones. So what we're looking for is something that's going to have a lot of flavor to it. We want a clean product if we can, that's important. We want to make sure that there's no, there's not cracks in them, because, we really don't know what's gotten in there. We make sure that there's no pests. Now look at that. Beautiful. Does it pass inspection? I told you, she's tough. But these are really good. Quality's nice, clean. Then let me show you, careful behind you. Let me show you some locally grown kale. So we're just really tasting everything to make sure it tastes good. Very important. Dogs can taste, just like humans can. So, we want to make sure that it's going to be good enough for me. It's going to be good. Hopefully, it'll be good enough for the dog. We try to buy chem-free stuff as often as we can, or even organic. We have product of Illinois.
Oh, we're in Illinois.
It's locally grown. That's what we want. Yep. Really fresh, good, nice quality. Plus it's local. That's what we want. And they're a great company to do business with. They always have a consistent product. You don't find bugs in their products. It's very clean. They do a good job. Keep trying to washing it as good as possible. Holly, I sell organic to a lot of organic customers here in Chicago. Holly wants the same similar product, and I even tell her sometimes, Holly, it's a lot more money. She goes, if you can get it, I prefer to have it. So let me tell you, the Dog Whisperer product, I think, it has such an advantage over these other dog foods because of the job I am doing and Holly is doing, by making sure that we're bringing the absolute best product for their brand. And by doing that, just doing things right in the long run, you succeed. It's not easy, it's a lot of hard work, but you know what? It's going to be worth it, and it is worth it. A lot of these companies out there, I don't want to name the dog food companies. You have some guy in an office, hi, can I have 500 boxes of potatoes or 500 carrots? They don't know what the product's like. They don't know if the product's good or not. They're just ordering it from somebody. That's not the way it's supposed to be done. Do you just order your produce on Amazon? A lot of people do, but is that the way it should be done? You're supposed to go and pick it up, smell it, look at it, maybe even taste it. That's how you know you're getting good stuff. You go to the store, you pick up a plum, you take a bite out of it, oh, it's good, let me take 5 pounds of plums. That's buying. And I wish all my customers were able to do business like that, because they would all keep growing and doing better and better. Look at that. Very nice. Very nice product. Holly and their company, they're going to live on.
Vegetarian dog food, it's actually one of our best-selling products. It was developed many, many years ago, I would say maybe 18 years ago, at the request of many of our consumers, that they would call up and say, why can't you make a vegetarian dog or cat food? And we had an interest in it, but it took us a while to kind of wrap our heads around making vegetarian product. So we weren't so sure that something that was just totally vegetarian would be appropriate for dogs and cats. And we also investigated, well, can we meet AAFCO requirements for these products? In other words, is enough nutrition for them? And then B, if it met AFCO, does it really meet nature's requirements? So again, it took us a while to kind of think about it and ultimately develop a product, which we think is a great product. We did move ahead, we did create it. However, we do use it or recommend it as what we call a side dish or something to be added to, I recommend, a meat-based product.
Vegetarian doesn't have a lot of protein. That's the nature of vegetables. They just don't have a lot of protein. The vegetarian works for different reasons. We don't advocate a dog to be a vegetarian. That is not what we want. We don't want to feed strictly vegetarian meals to the dog.
This is what it would look like in the can, and because it's relatively thick, it won't just come out by itself, but it looks similar to a ground dog food, but you can see the chunkiness and the aroma is just sweet, and I just want to eat it up while I'm sitting here. Anytime we open this up and we're in some sort of a meeting or a conversation, people comment how, is it lunchtime yet? They get hungry because they smell it. Just the aroma. This is unusual for pet food, where it may say certain things in there, but you don't see them because they've been processed, highly processed, ground, powder, whatever, dehydrated, whatever. You can see what's been put in here. It's in the form that you would see on your dining room plate.
Vegetarian is good for overweight dogs, it's good for allergies, it's good for kidney disease because you have to bring down the protein. So you could still bring a meat and then you mix it with the vegetarian.
So yeah, we're just all for the vegetarian. We love these kinds of products. That really keeps us going. But fats are pretty much essential for living beings, animals, and as well as ourselves. But again, it's sort of misconceived as far as let's try to reduce the fat amount because it's going to be healthier for our pets. It really isn't true. So we don't want to overdo it. Again, it's everything in moderation, but it's not something that you have to worry about to the degree that we do with humans.
But freshness really isn't what we think about when it comes to allergies. So when it comes to allergies, we at our facility have come up with salmon and exotic meats and vegetarian. And it's not that anybody needs to spend more money on rabbit. You don't. Chicken is just as good.
Anytime you change something in a diet, whether it be people or pets, there could be a bit of a reaction. These products, because they're the same manufacturing plant, the same line, thought was put into, so if we do change from one formula one day to another formula the next day, then the reaction would be minimal. If you stay within our line, the Dog Whisperer line, that's not necessary. You could just change at will. However, my recommendation, personally, is that there's no real point to changing day to day to day. We as humans like the variety. Dogs and cats don't necessarily require the variety, and they may not even be looking for the variety as often as we do.